What is cyberbullying? To understand the concept of cyberbullying, first it is necessary to comprehend the definition of bullying. According to the American Psychological Association Dictionary of Psychology, bullying is a persistent threatening and aggressive physical behavior or verbal abuse directed toward other people, especially those who are younger, smaller, weaker, or in some other situation of relative disadvantage. UNICEF defines cyberbullying as is bullying with the use of digital technologies. It can take place on social media, messaging platforms, gaming platforms, and mobile phones. It is repeated behavior, aimed at scaring, angering, or shaming those who are targeted. The growth of the interactions and activities in the digital world has taken society by surprise. Most of us were not prepared for this fast transition, in terms of appropriate behaviors. Neither governments nor policymakers were prepared in terms of rules and policies for the digital world. This fast transition and the lack of preparation have created a social and legal void, where important threats have arisen. Cyberbullying is a clear example. Cyberbullying has been constantly present in children's, youngsters', and adults' lives, since there were no moral guidelines or firm regulations to prevent and address it. Differences between bullying in the physical and digital environment. Some incidents of bullying can be very similar in the online world. Cyberbullying. However, some important considerations when comparing bullying in physical and digital environments are: indirect interaction. Physical environment, the interaction of bullying is direct. The incident between the bully and the victim is in most of times face-to-face. Bullies may act aggressively, either verbally or physically, when the victim is around. Digital environment, cyberbullying may happen indirectly in the digital world through online means. Victims can be perpetrated by persons they know or complete strangers. Cyberbullying can be done via text messaging, social media, or other digital platforms that do not require direct face-to-face interaction. Anonymity. Physical environment. In traditional bullying, there is minimal anonymity and the victim usually knows who the attacker is. It is usually easy to identify the bully. Digital environment. Despite that not all bullies are anonymous, a higher level of anonymity is involved in cyberbullying. The use of fictitious accounts or internet pseudonyms by perpetrators makes it difficult for victims to identify their harassers. Being anonymous is one of the disadvantages in cyberbullying because for the bully is easier to start and escalate the incidents, as they feel protected behind their anonymous identity. Pervasiveness. Physical environment. Bullying in the traditional sense is restricted to certain physical settings, such as companies, schools, or communities. The effect is limited to those specific environments. Digital environment. Cyberbullying is not limited by geographical limitations. When people have access to digital devices and the internet, it may happen anywhere and at any time, which has a more widespread effect on the lives of the victims. Ubiquity. Physical environment. Bullying in the past was more isolated and might not have occurred as frequently. It usually occurs at particular times or under particular circumstances. Digital environment. Because digital gadgets offer continual connectivity, cyberbullying is pervasive. Bullying may occur around the clock for victims, and many find it more difficult to leave since the internet world is constantly available. Teaching unit. How to identify if a person has been a victim of bullying. Cyberbullying. Duration: 3 hours. In many cases, children and youngsters who are victims of bullying and cyberbullying do not report it, for different reasons such as fear of repercussions from bullies, fear they become more vulnerable, fear of being judged, think they will not have sufficient support, feeling helpless, getting punishments, think people will laugh about them, shame, need to handle the situation by themselves, do not want to continue spreading the message. This means telling others what is being said about them, etc. Bullying and cyberbullying can leave devastating consequences in the victims' lives that we will review in depth in the chapter, Consequences of Cyberbullying. Therefore, as a youth worker, parent, or youngster, it is very important to identify the signs indicating when an individual is a victim of cyberbullying and bullying. Teaching exercise. Step 1. The following list includes different signs for identifying if a person has become a victim. Provide the list to your learners and ask them to analyze each of the signs and classify them into 3 groups. Group 1. Signs for cyberbullying and bullying. Group 2. Signs for cyberbullying. Group 3. Signs for bullying. List of signs. Loneliness. Constant avoidance of mentioning their regular online activities interactions. The youngster child loses interest in people and things. Loss of friends. The youngster's child reacts emotionally to what they see on their device by laughing, becoming angry, or being unhappy. The youngster's child's social media profiles are deleted or replaced. Constant headaches. Eating disorders. Unexplained injuries. Constant stomach aches. Low self-esteem. Talking about suicide. Lack of concentration. Avoiding going to work, school, social situations, etc. Destroyed or lost belongings. When other people are around, the youngster child hides their screen. Self-harming. Depression. Sleeping disorders and nightmares. Being unhappy in specific environments, such as school, work, leisure activities, etc. Poor performance at school, work. Anxiety. Sudden increase or decrease in the usage of digital devices. Step 2. Share with the group the results. Some examples of signals of bullying and cyberbullying are loneliness, depression, low self-esteem, anxiety, constant headaches, constant stomach aches, being nervous after having an online interaction, reading a message, etc. Eating disorders. Poor performance at school, work. Avoiding going to work, school, social situations, etc. Loss of friends. Self-harming. Talking about suicide. Unexplained injuries. Sleeping disorders and nightmares. Lack of concentration. Additional signs of cyberbullying are the youngster's child's social media profiles are deleted or replaced. Being nervous after having an online interaction, reading a message, etc. A youngster's child reacts emotionally to what they see on their device by laughing, becoming angry, or being unhappy. Sudden increase or decrease in the usage of digital devices. When other people are around, the youngster child hides their screen. Constant avoidance of mentioning their regular online activities interactions. The youngster child loses interest in people and things. Additional signs of bullying are being unhappy in specific environments, such as school, work, leisure activities, etc. Destroyed or lost belongings. Step 3. After analyzing the results, ask the group to think on more signs for each of the groups. Provide some time and then ask them to share their answers. Step 4. After making the final list, make some reflections by asking your learners. Are you able to identify if someone is being a victim? Do you know somebody who might be suffered cyberbullying or bullying? Have you been a victim? If yes, do you think you had some of these signs? Mention to the group some of the reasons victims do not report it. Then, ask, if you were a victim, did you look for help? If yes, what happened? If not, why? Step 5. Ask the group to make a poster for each of the groups and paste it in your facilities. Also, ask your learners to take pictures of the posters and upload them in their social media. Cyberbullying typology. Harassment. The Cambridge Dictionary defines harassment as an illegal behavior towards a person that causes mental or emotional suffering, which includes repeated unwanted contacts without a reasonable purpose, insults, threats, touching, or offensive language. According to the study Online Harassment and Cyberstalking, Victim Access to Crisis, Referral and Support Services in Canada, Concepts and Recommendations, the author, Randy McCall, mentions that online harassment can be manifested in a direct and indirect way towards the victim. Online direct harassment. It is when the victim receives directly, to their online accounts, social media, email, WhatsApp, etc., messages that are intimidating, embarrassing, disrespectful, aggressive, etc. Online indirect harassment. When the victim is attacked in other media different than their personal accounts, social media groups, forums, websites, etc. For example, publish fake posts under the victim's name. Starting a website to rate the physical aspects of the victim. Subscribing the victim to app accounts or services without their permission, etc. Online threats. Online threats refer to any kind of intimidating or hostile communication, statements or messages sent over digital means, with the goal of injuring, frightening or coercing the target. Online threats are divided into explicit threats. These are threats for harming the victim, such as physical threats, property damage threats, or other activities that can cause emotional distress. Explicit threats are clearly directed to the victim, for example, "Watch your back because I will beat you." "If you do not send me more pictures, I will block your computer." "If you do not send me the money, I will erase your account," etc. Implied threats. The intention of causing damages to the victim is the same as the explicit threat. However, implied threats are communicated by clues, insinuations, indirect language, etc. The victim should have to infer the danger from the implied message, for example, "People like you should be beaten. If I were you, I would stop," etc. In both cases, victims should contact the police if the threat is putting their lives at risk. In the course of this chapter, you will see how online threats can be manifested in different types of cyberbullying, especially in phishing, digital identity theft, doxing, outing, cyberstalking, and sextortion. Denigration or dissing. Denigration or dissing can be defined into the following actions: to deny the importance of an individual, to attack a victim's reputation, to underestimate with others the good value of a person. The attacker spreads false, cruel, or hurtful information about the victim through digital means. Denigration occurs in several ways, such as character assassination is the act of making untrue or defamatory comments about a person's morality, personality, or other attributes in an effort to damage their reputation. Spreading false information. Some cyberbullies have the ability to spread false information about their victims, making their friends or other people think things about their behavior, personal lives, or opinions that are not true. Public humiliation. This consists in humiliating the victim, usually by publishing pictures, videos, or comments in an embarrassing or compromised way. Creating defamatory content. The perpetrators design websites, social media profiles, and other online content with the purpose of criticize their victim. Impersonation. The attackers create fake social media profiles, create fake websites, subscribe to groups or forums, and publish inaccurate or harmful information under the victim's identity. This can cause major repercussions for the victim. Deface profiles. Perpetrators can attack the victim's social media profiles through the comment section, posting on their profiles, etc., affecting their reputation. Denigration through words. Denigration can be directed towards an individual or a specific group. Sometimes, without the intention of hurting someone, we can be using vocabulary that underestimates the value of a group. For example, teaching unit, the art of gossips. Duration, 90 minutes. The aim of this activity is to explore and gain a deep understanding of how gossips can cause denigration on persons, affecting their reputation. Step 1. Divide your learners into pairs. Avoid that these pairs are formed by close friends. Try to establish pairs of learners who do not have a constant interaction. Step 2. Give 10 minutes to the pairs to present themselves. Each person should tell to their peers 3 true statements about themselves. Step 3. Ask each person to go to the front and present their peer. This person should share the 3 true statements and present 1 extra false statement about the other. The false statement should have to be realistic. Avoid telling false statements that are very easy to identify. My peer went to the moon, my peer speaks all the languages from the world, etc. Step 4. Ask to the rest of the group to vote to determine which of the statements, 1, 2, 3 or 4 is false. Step 5. Unveil the false statement and compare the votes. Step 6. Do the same process to each of your learners. Step 7. Ask them the following reflection questions. Were you able to identify all of your peers' false statements? Were false statements easier to identify on close friends than on people you do not know very well? How can false statements lead to changing a person's life? Why do you think that other people can believe in gossips? How can gossips easily be distributed? Which types of gossips do you normally encounter in the digital world? In which media do you find gossips more often? How will you react in the future when you hear a gossip? This activity is important as participants will have the chance to examine real-life examples of gossips coming from their peers. Participants will learn that a gossip can play an important role, especially in the digital world. Gossips can influence public opinion. If the gossip is good, it will be fast distributed. Gossips can be connected to broader societal issues. Gossips can affect a person's image and well-being, etc. Masquerading, catfishing, phishing, digital identity theft. Masquerading is when the bully creates a fake social profile, email, or account to bother a person via online. The victim is contacted through one of these ways, which appearance looks as it is coming from someone else. Masquerading is the first step for committing other types of cyberbullying. Catfishing. The Cambridge Dictionary defines catfish as someone who pretends on social media to be someone different in order to trick or attract other people. In most of times, catfishing involves a masquerading profile, where a person pretends to be in love with the victim and have an online relationship in order to obtain money, gifts, etc. The most common signs to suspect that we can be victims of catfishing are: the fake lover wants to move forward the relationship very fast. Fake lovers make 1,000 excuses for not meeting in person. At first, they pretend and show that they have a nice life, without financial problems. All of a sudden, fake lovers have a conflictive situation, i.e. health problems, accidents, etc. and ask for financial support. Their stories about themselves and family may have contradictions and lack of coherence. Lack of track about their personal profiles. The fake lover asks to make the relationship more special, making in to keep it as a secret. Avoiding having video conferences or showing their face, etc. Phishing. Phishing is a form of social engineering attack that happens when a victim is tricked into opening a masquerade email, text message, etc. that seems to be legitimate. The victim trusts the reliability of the content, as in most of cases they have the same corporate branding, same logos, colors, etc. Subsequently, the email asks the receiver click on a link, download a file, etc. that can cause the installation of malware to steal credentials. Also, clicking to the link might let persons get to a fake website that looks identical as the original one, where they are asked to provide sensitive information such as passwords, bank accounts, etc. Examples: email coming from an attacker who is pretending to be Amazon. The attacker is asking to download a document for reading further details about the unusual activity of the account. However, the file could be infected with malware. Illegitimate email from iCloud. The email is asking the victim to click at the button to verify information in order to unlock the account. In this case, normally after clicking the button, victims will be directed to a fake website where they will start a sign-in process that includes typing their password. Email pretending to be sent by an important bank from Spain. As in the previous examples, the attacker is trying to make the victim think that their bank account has been locked. By clicking the information confirmation button, the victim will be tricked to provide their bank information. What happens when the attacker gets the personal information? Below are some examples of what the attackers do after having access to the victim's credentials and sensitive information. Data breaches. Doxing, publishing the victim's personal or professional information online. Asking victims for money in order to get back their documents, pictures, information, etc. Asking victims for money to have access to their computer, accounts, etc. Modification in the victim's computer's systems. Locking out accounts, without the possibility for getting them back. Directing victims to malicious sites, spam, etc. having access to the network of a company, etc. Getting money from bank accounts, buying things, etc. Examples of real cases from Facebook. Identity theft. Identity theft is when the attacker steals personal and confidential information and uses it for fraudulent activities. The most common information that thieves look forward to stealing are full victims' names, victims' birth dates and places of birth, social security numbers, physical address, email address, phone number, passport number or ID number, drive license, financial account numbers, banking pins, credit card information, number, expiration dates, security codes, holder's name, memberships, affiliations, employer and employee information. Identity can be stolen through different ways, but the most common ones are through phishing or by creating similar social media profiles with stolen pictures from the victim's social media public posts. Some of the fraudulent activities committed by the identity thief are financial fraud. Identity thieves use the stolen information to apply for loans, credit cards, make unauthorized payments, etc. Medical fraud, to fraudulent get prescription medications, medical treatments, insurance benefits, etc. Tax fraud, they may submit fictitious tax returns in the victim's name in an attempt to obtain refunds or other financial advantages. Social engineering, by manipulating the stolen data, identity thieves can trick other people into disclosing more private information, launching a chain reaction of fraudulent activities. Contact friends and family. Identity thieves get into the social media account or create a similar profile of the victim to contact friends. Attackers pretend to be the victims and tell their friends that they are passing through a bad situation. After making a close contact with them, thieves proceed to ask them for money. Employment fraud, they might use stolen data to get jobs, which might cause problems for the victim's employment history, taxes, benefits, etc. Criminal activity, thieves may use of the stolen identity for illegal purposes, such as eluding police authorities, providing fake identities to police, etc. How to prevent phishing and identity theft? Do not open attachments in emails without knowing who the sender is and confirming that they actually sent you that email. Also, confirm with them that the email contains an attachment and that they know what it is. Ignore emails with incorrect spelling, Amazon instead of Amazon or Instagram instead of Instagram, etc. Try to get directly from the legitimate website, instead of the link of the email. For example, get into your Amazon account directly from the website to check if the account is really locked. Do not click links, URLs in emails unless you know who sent you the link. Make your brain and passwords stronger. Although they might be difficult to be memorized, the use of complex passwords can prevent you to become a victim of these attacks. Avoid date of birth, pets' names or other easy details that the thief can try as password. Do not use your pets' names, etc. in the questions to reset your password. Use different passwords for different sites. If possible, use the two-factor authentication in your accounts. This is an extra layer where first the users type their usernames and passwords. After this, the account asks them for further information, for example a code that users receive through a text message on their mobiles. Never enter to pop-up windows. Some of them might not be safe. Log out and reboot your computer whenever you finish using it. Scan your computer frequently. Use antivirus program and keep it update. Ensure that the program is from legitimate companies. Use a firewall. Update your operating system. System updates have new security patches that will help you to have the computer more protected. Do not enter to websites that your browser notifies you that could not be safe. Disclosure of information, doxing and outing. Disclosure of information can be done in several ways and purposes. Doxing or doxing. Doxing is when someone reveals personal information about someone, without their permission. Some of the information is posted in online media is home addresses, signature, workplace details, passwords, personal phone numbers, social security numbers, family background, education details, personal photos, personal videos, private correspondence, criminal history, embarrassing personal details, bank account, credit card information, national registration identity card number, etc. The evolution of the term doxing starts in the 1990s, from the word documents. The term dropping docs originated when documents was abbreviated to docs, and subsequently docs. Dropping docs was a tactic employed by cybercriminals to reveal the true identities of rival cybercriminals. They lost their anonymity when they disclosed their true names, making them visible to law enforcement and any others attempting to locate them. How do attackers compile information? Usernames tracking. Do you tend to use the same usernames on different accounts? You are more vulnerable of a doxing. For attackers, it is easy to track your username, leading them to all your websites, applications, social media profiles, etc. Domain search. The details of domain name website owners are kept in a registry and are frequently accessible to the public. The buyer of the website domain needs to keep private their personal details during the purchasing procedure. On the opposite, attackers will be able to find personal information, such as phone number, address, etc. Phishing is a form of social engineering attack that happens when a victim is tricked into opening a masquerade email, text message, etc. that seems to be legitimate. Consult all the details of phishing in the subchapter: masquerading, catfishing, phishing, digital identity theft. Packet sniffing. Data is structured in packets when they travel on the internet. When an attacker intercepts and reads private data traveling over a network, it is known as packet sniffing. Threat actors mostly use packet sniffing to target sensitive data, including unencrypted email messages, financial information, and login passwords. Since anybody may join a public Wi-Fi network, packet sniffing usually happens when a victim is connected to it. Checking on social media profiles. Many people do not include private settings in their social media profiles, making strangers have direct access to pictures, information, educational and work profiles, family members, financial situation, locations, etc. Tracking IP addresses. The attacker can obtain the victim's IP address and track their physical location. Through social engineering techniques, the attacker uses the IP address to convince the victim's ISP to provide more information about the victim. Mobile number tracking. Attackers can use your mobile number to look for more information about the victim. Searching for the mobile number can lead to different social media, white pages, websites, etc. Doxing can be done with different intentions, such as revenge or punishment intentions, cause alarm, cause fear of violence or incite violence, intimidation, humiliation, cause harassment, damaging the reputation of the victim. Outing. For some people from the LGBTQ+ community, the journey of self-discovery and disclosure of their gender identity or sexual orientation is a personal process. It is critical to understand that each person has a different procedure. Some people can disclose their LGBTQ+ identity early in life, while other persons can take years to understand and accept their identities. Furthermore, some persons might have concerns in disclosing this information, as they could face different challenges in their lives, such as discrimination and stigma, harassment, violence, rejection by family and friends, work consequences, rejection by schools, legal consequences in some countries, lack of support networks, religious and cultural beliefs. The process of self-discovery and disclosure can be violated by other persons. In the digital world, one type of cyberbullying is called outing. Outing is disclosing the sexual orientation or gender identity of a person without their permission. In digital communities, outing can have far-reaching negative impacts, especially because when the identity is revealed, there is no way of taking back this message. Although pictures, videos, or other information can be deleted, the main objective of the message is already disclosed. Why is outing a concern in our modern society? The study A Long Way to Go for LGBTI Equality from the European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights provides figures about the disclosure rates in Europe. 53% of LGBTI people surveyed are almost never or rarely open about being LGBTI. 23% say that they are very open. Younger LGBTI respondents are less open than older respondents. Respondents aged 15 to 17, only 5% are very open. Respondents aged 18 to 24, only 12% are very open. Respondents older than 55, 36% are very open. LGBTI respondents with higher education levels, 27%, are nearly twice as likely to be very open than the ones with lower education levels, 14%. 61% of respondents always or often avoid simple displays of affection in public, i.e. holding hands. 1 in 3, 33% always or often avoid certain places for fear of being assaulted, threatened or harassed. 26% of respondents hide being LGBTI at work. A person can take it seriously while deciding to reveal their sexual orientation or gender identity due to existing external factors. Discrimination is not a self-perception or fear. Discrimination is real towards LGBTQ+ people of all ages, in all environments, with concerning figures detailed in the study A Long Way to Go for LGBTI Equality. 21% felt discriminated at work in the year before the survey of this study was carried out, 2019. 10% felt discriminated when looking for work in the year the survey of this study was carried out, 2019. 37% felt discriminated in other areas different than work, school, university, housing, cafe, restaurant, bar, nightclub, healthcare or social services, shops, or after showing an ID document. 55% of trans and 59% of intersex feel discriminated in these life areas. 53% of respondents aged 15-17 experience discrimination in some area of life. 41% of respondents aged 18+ experience discrimination in some area of life. Of the recent incidents of discrimination, just 11% were reported to the nation's equality body or another organization. Teaching Unit, The Outing Case of Channing Smith. Duration, 2 hours. The aim is to increase awareness about the negative consequences of the intervention and violation of the disclosure process of people from LGBTQ+ communities. Step 1. Ask learners to make research about the case of Channing Smith from Tennessee. Step 2. Ask them to answer the following questions. Who was Channing Smith? At what age he became a cyberbullying target? How was he involved in the outing? Had Channing disclosed his sexuality publicly before the main attack? What happened after the messages were leaked? How did classmates react? What did Channing Smith do? Why was Channing Smith disappointed about the attackers? What do you think about the last message of Channing Smith? Where did Channing Smith live? Did he live in a rural area or in a city? How did the school's principal react after the student's tribute? Step 3. Review and discuss your learners' answers. Step 4. Make the following reflection questions. Do you think that cyberbullying can have different consequences for victims who live in a rural town than the ones who live in cities? What actions could have been done before committing suicide? How can these incidents be prevented in your environment, school, work, etc.? How outing someone without their permission can affect their mental well-being? What kind of support can you offer to persons from LGBTQ+ to protect their rights? What actions and initiatives do you think are necessary so people from LGBTQ+ communities do not hide their gender identities or sexual orientations? Step 5. Ask your learners to get divided into groups. Ask each group to identify main quotes of Channing Smith's family and friends. Ask them to select quotes and create a collage to raise awareness about outing and its negative consequences. Motivate your learners to select a creative grid design that fits all the messages. Combine different textures. Combine different colors to create eye-catching contrasts. Use 3D and other creative techniques. Step 6. Present the collages. Each group should give the reason for the selected quotes. Paste the collages in your facilities. Also, ask your learners to take pictures of the posters and upload them in their social media. Studying this case is relevant for promoting and facilitating the inclusion of LGBTQ+ communities. The case of Channing Smith is a touching demonstration of how common is the violation of privacy. The act of outing Channing Smith led him an extreme detrimental impact on his overall well-being, causing him to take his own life. This case shows how some people can underestimate the privacy, rights, and values of others. It is important to respect and preserve people's freedom to express who they are, whenever they want. Understand that a person's sexual orientation and gender identity is a private and personal matter. Disclosing the gender identity and/or sexual orientation of a person, without their permission, is a violation of their privacy. Allowing and supporting them to disclose this information with others, on their terms and time frames, is a way to honor their process. Offer support and acceptance. Exclusion. The Cambridge Dictionary defines exclusion as the act of not allowing someone or something to take part in an activity or to enter a place. Unfortunately, it is too typical for exclusion to be used as a cruel kind of bullying among young communities. This kind of discriminatory conduct is not only part of our real world, but also into the digital one. Speaking about the digital world, exclusion is an intentional act of not including a person in online groups, etc. People frequently utilize exclusion either in both contexts to establish their dominance, denigrate others, or follow behaviors from their peers. Some examples of exclusion can be not inviting a person to a group chat where they organize different face-to-face activities. Exclude someone in participating in discussions, such as online forums, online communities, etc. Not adding a person to a chat group of friends in order to speak negative things about them. Asking others to unfriend the victim from social media accounts. Ignore the victim when sharing their opinion, asking questions. Some negative consequences about exclusion are: in some cases, the victim has a face-to-face friend relationship with the group that is excluding them. Not knowing the reason behind the exclusion will affect this relationship. The excluded person can become victim of other cyberbullying attacks. It can accelerate the process of being cyberbullied in other ways. Excluded persons do not know what others are planning, not having chances to prevent or defend themselves. Digital exclusion causes isolation and exclusion in the real world. Cyberstalking. Cyberstalking is when a person has an obsessive control, tracking and harassment of someone by using digital technologies. Cyberstalking actions can escalate and get out of control in a fast way, putting the victim's life in real danger. Cyberstalking has different levels of escalation. Like many other internet hazards, cyberstalking in many cases begins discreetly and inoffensive. Victims may not initially give much attention to the early indicators of cyberbullying. The first level can start with jokes, harmless messages, compliments, or even passive-aggressive conducts through online media. However, cyberstalking can evolve into a medium level where cyberstalkers can start with harassment, disrespectful messages, etc., raising concerns and distress on victims. Moreover, cyberstalking can evolve to a third level, in which cyberstalkers continue with intimidation, threats, harmful attacks, aggression where the victim is in danger, not only in the digital world, but in the real one. In some cases, stalkers commit physical harm to their victims. Some behaviors of cyberstalking are tracking someone's movements using location, GPS technologies such as apps, GPS gadgets, etc. Searching where the victim will go and make accidental encounters. Sending repeated unwanted messages through email, instant messaging, texting, etc. Over-insisting messages or requests of love or sex. Obsessive contact through several online accounts. Use spying apps. Telling the victim that they are controlled without hiding possibilities. Constant aggressive messages and threats. Regretfully, cyberstalking may become an extremely prevalent problem in love relationships, especially when one or both partners display extreme jealousy and a constant need of control the other's actions. Cyberstalking tactics in these situations can take many different shapes, frequently indicating a lack of trust, low self-esteem, and low securities. Sadly, in our unprepared society, many of the following cyberstalking tactics are normalized in relationships. Keeping a close eye on the partner's online activities. Checking constantly the time of their last online connection. Keeping an eye on their social contacts, asking to know who they are speaking with and why. Requesting access to their personal gadgets or communication platforms. Requesting the GPS location of the partner. Asking the partner why they viewed a message but did not reply right away. Some hints that could let you know that you are a victim of cyberstalking or at risk of becoming one are: obsessive control of each of your online movements. Constant engagement with most of your posts. Contacting, controlling, and following friends and family members. Constant and obsessive questions: who are you with? Where are you? What are you doing? Do not take your request of leaving you alone. What is the difference between harassment and cyberstalking? The terms of harassment and cyberstalking might sound similar, however there are some differences between them. In cyberstalking, the attacker is involved in an obsessive behavior. Cyberstalking attacks towards one victim are more frequent than in harassment. Cyberstalking can last for long periods of time. At first, persons might not be aware that they are victims of cyberstalking. They might not experience distress or fear on the first instance. Teaching unit: the pyramid of cyberstalking. Duration: 90 minutes. The main aim of the exercise is to raise awareness about the alarming and fast escalation of cyberstalking behaviors. Learners will be able to review the consequences that these obsessive behaviors cause in victims. Step 1. Ask students to watch the video made by the ABC News, Nightline, published by Kenyan EACEA. Nightline: a woman's affair that morphed into cyberstalking horror. A video that explains the case of Courtney Allen, a woman who was a victim of cyberstalking that caused damaging consequences in her life and family. Step 2. Ask your participants to analyze the cyberstalking behaviors from the video and classify them into the main levels of the cyberstalking pyramid. Incidents of first level. Incidents of second level. Incidents of third level. Step 3. Show results among the group. Step 4. Ask to the group the following reflection questions. What do you think about the escalation of this case? How important is to take counteractive measures? Why? Do you think cyberstalking happens more frequently in persons from a specific sex or gender identity? Do you think cyberstalking causes real-life repercussions? Why is it important to take counteractive measures as soon as possible? Spoiling alert! Do not read it until you finish the case. The lessons learned from Courtney Allen's case serve as a clear warning that cyberstalking may constitute a threat in both the physical and online worlds. Reviewing this case is important to become aware of how crucial it is to identify and stop cyberstalking at its very beginning, first phase. Many times, people would underestimate the situation and ignore the initial indications of cyberstalking because they believe there is no imminent risk. On the other hand, when victims do not resolve and stop the situation, cyberstalking can escalate in a disturbing and fast way. The more it escalates, the more complicated it is to stop cyberstalkers. It might have terrible repercussions that might greatly affect our lives. Electronic insults, flaming and trolling. Electronic insults is a type of cyberbullying that are available in all media. Flaming. According to the Social Media Victims Law Center, flaming is a form of cyberbullying that involves repeatedly posting insulting and intimidating language at another user in an online forum. Social media, chat rooms, YouTube, gaming rooms, or any online platform where users can share content are common places for flaming cyberbullying. Flames are often personal and intended to cause a recipient to feel shame and humiliation. Trolling. Trolling is the purposeful publishing of offensive and provocative information online in an effort to sabotage conversations, provoke or evoke strong feelings in other people. Trolls can exhibit a range of disruptive activities, such as disseminating fake information, use irony and sarcasm to provoke reactions, send inflammatory messages, etc. The objective of trolls is to have fun by inciting chaos, manipulating others, etc. Happy slapping. The Cambridge Dictionary defines happy slapping as the activity of attacking someone and filming the attack, especially with a mobile phone. Why happy slapping is a concern in our modern society. Save the Children provides some concerning figures in their website. Approximately 76,643 young people in Spain have been victims of happy slapping during their childhood. 61% of cases happy slapping, the aggressors are friends or colleagues. The average age at which they suffered happy slapping for the first time was 14 years old. In our modern and unprepared society, it has become increasingly prevalent to see constant videos shared on social media, websites, blogs, and various online platforms that show different acts of aggression, physical, verbal, sexual. What is truly concerning is the tendency for these videos to be presented in a seemingly humorous manner. On the other side, a significant reason behind the creation and dissemination of happy slapping lies in the desire for becoming viral and the pursuit of financial gain and fame. This has led in a concerning trend where acts of violence, pranks, confrontation, etc. are often trivialized for the sake of entertainment. In the digital era, where social media algorithms reward the increased visibility and followers, creators often intentionally craft content that pushes the boundaries of acceptability. This funny content blurs the lines between reality and amusement, where viewers are not aware about the gravity of these situations. According to Save the Children, happy slapping has the following common patterns and phases. First phase. Prior agreement. Usually, there is an agreement among two or more individuals on when and how to attack another person. Usually, the victim is someone who has already been bullied or cyberbullied. The pretext. Bullies typically search for a pretext to isolate the person who they plan to attack. They look for places where they can be alone and where anybody can stop the aggression. Physical aggression. In most of the times the aggression is done by more than one person, where some of them are ready to record the incident and the others attack the person. There are some other cases where an aggressive incident emerges without previous planning, and others capture the moment. Second phase. Share the images. After the completion of the first phase, the second phase consists in sharing this aggressive content through different online media. The victim suffers continuing harm as a result of both the attack and the constant reproduction in digital devices. Happy slapping is a phenomenon where we should raise important questions about the desensitization of violence, the reduction of empathy in our society, and the consequences of normalizing aggression in our digital interactions. Happy slapping is increasingly blurring the lines between real life and virtual reality. Youth communities and other groups need to be aware about the ethical implications of the content they consume and share in order to reach a safe and healthy online environment. Teaching unit, the erosion of empathy and respect. Duration, 3 hours. The aim of this activity is to increase awareness about the blurred lines among being funny, losing empathy and respect towards others. Also, this exercise looks forward to becoming aware of how funny moments lead to uncontrolled situations that can change our lives forever. Step 1. Ask your learners to watch the following video. Try not to laugh, prank edition #shorts #funny, a video from Awesome Chimp that shows happy slapping incidents. Step 2. Ask the following reflection questions. Was this video funny for you? Take a look at the image on the book. How many views the video has? When was the video published? How many likes the video has? How fast can a victim become viral? How do you think these persons felt at that moment? How do you think these persons feel now that they become viral? Do you think they can become target of more funny incidents? Some of these people might be chosen randomly. Which ones you think they could be victims of happy slapping? Do you think the ones who were not chosen randomly are involved in a healthy environment, at work, with their family, friends, etc.? Step 3. Take a look to each of the following real comments from this video and determine the level of awareness of the person who wrote it. Level 1. Not aware of happy slapping. Level 2. Medium aware. People might not know what happy slapping is, but they know that these videos are not ethical. Despite this, they laugh about them. Level 3. totally aware about happy slapping and consequences. That plastic wrap liked that first girl so much it kept her glasses. That and the mirror had me LMAO. Banana prank. And the laugh after. The first one got potential. She can be a star. Dude with the mirror in the bed was thinking to himself, now you know how I feel every morning. Never prank someone next to a road, and don't prank employees of a business. Pranking store employees when they are on shift is a great way to get arrested. Pranks in private with people you know, yes, funny. Pranks with strangers for the internet, no, you're asking for trouble. It's scary how people have normalized pranking strangers while they're minding their own business. Me convinced I'm not gonna laugh. Me laughing so hard after the first clip. This was great. I laughed so hard. The 3 plastic wrap doorway had me crying, thank you, I needed that. Even she was surprised by her own appearance. Invisible danger prank, works every time. The wrap pranked should be jailed. No sense of respect for private space. The rubber banana prank, blanket ghost prank, mirror prank, and plastic wrap prank were all diabolical and hilarious. They were also the only humane pranks in this video, as it is dangerous to prank someone near a road, especially when there's traffic, and it is wrong to prank strangers in a public area, such as a grocery store. Warning, if you frighten someone and they have a heart attack, you could be charged with murder and certainly break your pocket. That first prank should never be done on road sidewalks, especially when the victim's first escape option in response is towards the road. Lawyer's reaction, someone is getting sued. Warning, never ever throw even a fake mouse at a person who has musophobia. If it's a woman on the edge, she will beat you down then pick you up so she can put you down again. These examples are how to lose people's trust in you. That banana slap was personal. The mirror was the best, haha. It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt and you find out you're paying their hospital bills. Step 4. Show to the group the following comment. It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt and you find out you're paying their hospital bills. Ask your learners to research about the case of Gavin Waterhouse, which incident happened at Keighley in 2008. Learners should answer the following questions. What happened? Describe the incident. Who were involved in the happy slapping attack? Who was Gavin Waterhouse? Who is Mark Masters? Who is Sean Thompson? How old were the involved persons on that time? Who recorded the attack? What was the duration of the video? What was the attitude of the attackers? What happened to Gavin Waterhouse? What sentence did Mark Masters, Sean Thompson, and the girl who recorded the video receive? Step 4. Review as a group the answers. Ask the following reflection questions. Do you think the attackers knew at that time the seriousness of the situation? Do you think the girl, who recorded the incident, was aware that she was participating in a crime? How the 15 seconds video changed the life of the girl. After attackers finished, they went away laughing and started to share the video. By doing this, what value do you think the attackers were giving to the life of Gavin Waterhouse? How do you feel about this? Do you think the society is aware of happy slapping? Do you think youth communities have lost empathy and respect values? Do you think groups of other ages have also lost these values? Do you think happy slapping happens more frequently in persons from a specific sex or gender identity? Do you think it is easy that a happy slapping incident can get out of control, leading to harmful damages? How can you prevent these events? What would you do if you were witnessing a happy slapping incident? Spoiling alert! Do not read it until you finish the case. The importance of studying these previous cases of happy slapping lies in the unambiguous contrast between the initial motivations of the attackers and the consequences that arises. In many instances, the perpetrators engage in happy slapping as a misguided form of enjoyment, with a casual desire to have fun at the expense of others. Some of the video comments show passive spectators who inadvertently normalize these behaviors by laughing about these moments. The gravity of the situation is not realized until things get complicated. it is crucial to be aware that happy slapping carries severe repercussions. Happy slapping attackers can face legal repercussions, such as imprisonment. Mark Masters was sentenced to 7 years, Thompson to 6 years, and the teenage girl, who recorded the video, to 2 years. On the other side, victims struggle with not just physical injuries, but also with emotional scars. Unfortunately, Gavin Waterhouse is one of many victims who are not here to share their stories. We can participate actively to reduce these events. It is important to avoid consuming these kinds of videos. Do not share happy slapping content. Do not participate in happy slapping. Intervene whenever we are witnessing an event. Report to authorities whenever we see a happy slapping incident. Help the victim. Sextortion or online sexual coercion. Sextortion or online sexual coercion are some of the terms known for obtaining online sexual content, mostly pictures and videos, through different tactics such as threats. According to the FBI, sextortion can occur on a variety of digital platforms, including chat services, websites, applications, and online games where users gather and engage. Under some circumstances, the first communication with the criminal could be a threat. The person might say to have an image or video of the child and threaten to share it unless the victim provides more pictures. Another way sextortion could start is when children think they are speaking with a friend who is similar in age, expressing interest in a romantic connection, or someone who seems to be giving something of value. After obtaining one or more videos or photographs, the perpetrators use threats of publishing or even physical violence to force the victim to provide further material. When children are caught up in this pattern, they frequently feel ashamed, afraid, and confused, which discourages them from asking for help or reporting the abuse. According to the Department of Homeland Security from the United States and Europol, some other tactics used by perpetrators are creating a fake relationship with the victim, secretly capturing pornographic chat messages and videos, contacting the child through different identities, pretending to be someone of a different sex, hacking accounts for obtaining sexual pictures or videos, threatening to terminate one's life if the victim declines to provide sexual pictures, analyzing the victim's friends list and other publicly accessible social media accounts to learn more about them and to look for any more personal information that can damage their reputation. Reciprocity: if you show me, I'll show you. First, offering the child or youngster something in return for sexually explicit content, such cash or drugs. Pretending to be employed by a modeling agency. The FBI has also seen an increase of financial sextortion, where perpetrators obtain sexually material and then threatens the child to publish it unless they send gift cards or money. The demanded sum can vary, and the perpetrator frequently exposes the victim's sexually explicit content regardless of whether the payment is made or not. The FBI states that this escalating danger has tragically led to an alarming number of suicide cases. Europol provides some concerning figures in their website. Online predators are now targeting victims as young as 7 years old. Female child victims are subjected to a higher degree for sexually explicit material, with 84% falling victim to this coercion, whereas male child victims experience this at a rate of 53%. Male victims are more frequently targeted for financial exploitation. Teaching unit: the case of Ashley Reynolds. Duration: 2 hours. The aim of this activity is to raise awareness about the importance of reporting to the police about online sexual coercion. Step 1. Provide to your learners the following statement. In 2009, when she was 14 years old, Ashley Reynolds was a joyful teenager who had a deep passion for sports, excelled both in her academics and her social life. She also liked to maintain a journal, one that she lovingly filled with entries meant for her future self to discover. Unfortunately, in this year something happened to her that she could not tell anyone, not even her diary. Step 2. Ask your learners search on the internet for more information about Ashley Reynolds' case. Step 3. Ask them to answer the following questions. Who is Ashley Reynolds? What happened to her? Why was she complying with the requests of the perpetrator? What were the reasons behind her denial to tell her parents or someone else about it? Who is Lucas Michael Chancellor? What different tactics was Lucas using with his victims? How many teenage girls were victims from Lucas's tactics? How was Lucas caught by the police? What was Lucas' sentence? How many victims know that Lucas is in jail? Step 4. Review and discuss your learners' answers. Step 5. Make the following reflection questions. What do you think will happen if Ashley had asked for help at the first moment? Why is it important to contact the police in these cases? What do you think about the FBI agent, Larry Meyer's declaration? We know that youngsters don't always make sound decisions. Today, with a smartphone or digital camera, an individual can take an inappropriate picture of themselves and 10 seconds later have it sent to someone. Once that picture is gone, he said, you lose all control over it, and what took 10 seconds can cause a lifetime of regret. How gender is involved in these bad practices. Cyberbullying roles. Most incidents of cyberbullying include a complicated dynamic in which individuals are involved in 3 main roles. These roles are divided according to their actions. Bully. The bully is a group or a person who initiates any harmful behavior that is included into the cyberbullying types, described in the chapter Cyberbullying Typology. The bully can adopt many identities. They can be someone the victim knows, for example, a friend, classmate, peer, etc. Bullies can also be someone completely different, such a stranger they met only online. Also, they could be a complete stranger. For this reason, cyberbullying is a more complicated phenomenon than bullying because perpetrators can come from the victim's close social circle or from a larger online community. This increases a wider variety of possible motives, strategies, and results. Teaching unit, test, am I a bully? The main objective of this test is to provide learners an opportunity for introspection and self-assessment to determine if they have ever engaged in cyberbullying behavior. This test is a self-evaluation where learners will have to be honest with themselves. Learners will not share their answers to prevent any judgments. The purpose of the test is not to condemn, but to promote self-awareness and a responsible digital conduct. Step 1. Ask your learners to individually answer the following questions. 1. Have you ever published fake posts under the victim's name? 2. Have you ever disclosed private information, private conversations, or a secret from a friend? 3. Have you ever disclosed the gender identity or sexual preference from anyone? 4. Have you ever coerced a person to send you pictures or other information? 5. Have you ever shared inappropriate pictures or videos from a friend? 6. Have you ever threatened someone online? 7. Have you ever sent constant insults to someone? 8. Have you ever entered to a person's personal accounts without permission? 9. Have you ever controlled the life or locations of someone, for example a partner? 10. Have you ever created a fake website from another person? 11. Have you ever done something online to someone that could damage their well-being, cause anxiety, fear, sadness, etc.? 12. Have you ever said comments that attack a person's reputation? 13. Have you spied on someone through online means? 14. Have you ever sent a virus to a friend on purpose? 15. Have you ever contacted anybody pretending to be someone else? 16. Have you ever fought with bad language and insults in any online media? 17. Have you ever used the personal information of somebody to any type of benefit? 18. Have you ever excluded someone from online media? 19. Have you ever recorded funnier videos or pictures that harm the persons who are in them, affecting their reputation, violence, etc.? 20. Have you ever established a fake relationship with someone online? 21. How often are you involved in these situations, either starting the behavior or participating in a group? Almost daily. At least once per week. Once per 2 months. It happened on few times. Step 2. Ask your learners to count their answers. Questions numbered from 1 to 20, each yes answer is 1 point. Each no answer is 0 points. Question number 21. Answer A, 20 points. Answer B, 15 points. Answer C, 10 points. Answer D, 5 points. Step 3. Provide your learners the following results. From 15 to 30 points, you are a bully at high level. From 10 to 14 points, you are a bully at medium level. From 6 to 10 points, you are at risk of becoming a bully. From 1 to 5 points, congratulations, you have good online interactions. Step 4. Ask your learners to write the answers of the following reflection questions. It is important that they write them so they can become accountable for their thoughts, behaviors, and actions. Their answers will only be for themselves and will not be unveiled. Now that you know the results of your test, what score did you get? How do you feel about the score? What consequences do you think your behaviors are causing to other people? How can you improve these negative behaviors? Do you think you need additional help to reduce these behaviors? If your answer is yes, consider that your youth worker can offer you support with no judgment. It is important to let learners know that some of them might have been involved in cyberbullying due to the lack of knowledge about its consequences. Therefore, this test will be useful to bridge this knowledge gap and make some individual reflections about their online interactions and frequency of their behaviors. Victim and vulnerable groups. The victim is a person targeted by the bully. Nowadays, most of people, especially youth communities, spend a large portion of their lives interacting online. Therefore, there is always a chance that someone becomes a target. Sadly, the terrible fact of cyberbullying is that it has no boundaries. It can affect any person, no matter their age, background, physical appearance, etc. Nowadays, cyberbullying attacks any person from any personality, outgoing, introverted, confident, bashful, etc., without making any distinctions. Vulnerable groups. Throughout the book, you will find concerning statistics about people who tend to become victims. Some groups are more likely to become victims in specific types of cyberbullying. Adolescents, youngsters, and young adults are more at risk. People from LGBTQ+ communities tend to become victims of outing. Girls tend to be more involved in sexual coercion. People who constantly interact on the internet are more at risk of becoming cyberbullied. Public figures. Influencers or people with a high number of followers, etc. Cyberbullying, when is directed to some people, has the potential to act as a catalyst to generate and contribute to hate speech. The United Nations Strategy and Plan of Action on Hate Speech define hate speech as any kind of communication in speech, writing, or behavior that attacks or uses pejorative or discriminatory language with reference to a person or a group on the basis of who they are. These persons are part of groups based on their religion, ethnicity, nationality, race, color, descent, gender, other identity factor. Whenever we interact online, it is important to notice that in hate speech, bullies can disguise their comments and pretend to be the victims. They can describe themselves as the good group and take advantage of the differences that exist with the other group to denigrate, etc. For example, in the study Helping Young People Recognize and Respond to Online Hate from Kids Help Phone, mentions that one of the recurrent themes found from hate speech perpetrators is that they romanticize their past and blame victims as guilty for its declination. The circle of roles. Different studies have demonstrated that in bullying, cyberbullying, or any other type of aggression can lead to a concerning scenario, a fluidity of roles within the same person. This implies that in many times one person can frequently move between the roles. This highlights the ways in which people's experiences and behaviors may alter over time due to a diversity of variables such as social dynamics, personal experiences, lack of resilience, environmental influences, etc. From victim to bully. Some persons who were victims in one incident might subsequently become bullies in future events. Therefore, it is important to work on the mental health whenever a person becomes a target. From bully to victim. Although we could think that bullies tend to always be in this role, they are also at risk to become victims, due to factors as exposure of their actions. If the actions of perpetrators are reported or publicly exposed, they can become subject to reprisals from the victim or other persons, public condemnation, criticism, etc. Changing social dynamics. Peer relationships may change socially, which can alter the balance of power. In the event that a bully loses their position of dominance within a social group, they may become the target of cyberbullying. Peer pressure. Peers can try to modify the behavior of the bully. Perpetrators can become victims if they resist changing. Bystanders. Bystanders are the main witnesses. They are those persons who see cyberbullying occurs but are not personally participating. Bystanders have the power to make a significant difference in influencing how cyberbullying turn out. Therefore, bystanders can be divided according to the action they decide to implement. Outsiders are those who watch bullying occur but decide not to get involved or do something about it. For example, people who are staring about the online comments from the bully, without sharing, reacting, etc. Defenders, they take the action of addressing the incident in different ways. Defenders can interfere, publicly or privately, to stop cyberbullying. They can also report these bad actions. Furthermore, they can provide support to victims. For example, defenders can report a fake profile to Facebook and tell about the incident to main authorities, youth workers, etc. Reinforcers, they accept and encourage the behavior of the perpetrator. They can unintentionally reinforce the negative conduct by laughing, cheering or applauding during or after the attack. For example, in Facebook, reinforcements can be done through positive reactions, like, love, ha ha. Assistants, they support the bully and joins in the incident. For example, the bully creates a website for ruining the victim's reputation and assistants help in sharing the website to all the community. Teaching unit, step on or stand for. Duration, 45 minutes. The main aim of the activity is to acquire knowledge and awareness of the reasons that make bystanders intervene or not in a cyberbullying situation. Step 1. Cut each of the following statements into individual pieces of paper. Reasons of why bystanders intervene in a cyberbullying situation. Consider that cyberbullying is wrong. Is a friend of the victim. They are used to act under ethical values. Have realized that the cyberbullying is harming the victim. Consider the victim as innocent. Feels empathy towards the victim. They are sure that authorities, youth workers, etc. will counteract the incidents. They are worried about the mental and physical health of the victim. Reasons of why bystanders do not intervene in a cyberbullying situation. Fear of becoming also a victim by the bully. They do not know the victim or are not friends. They do not have tools or knowledge of how to address the cyberbullying incident properly. Are not aware about the cyberbullying consequences on the victim. They do not think that authorities, youth workers, etc. will counteract the incidents. Feel that they will lose power or reputation. They think that is not their problem. They are friends of the bully. Make more statements to ensure that each of your learners have one. Step 2. Ask your learners to place the piece of paper inside the balloon. Your learners should inflate the balloon and tie it with the rope on their leg. Step 3. Make 2 groups ensuring that statements of why bystanders intervene or not are mixed. Step 4. 1 person from each group should come to the middle. They will try to step on the other's balloon. The first person that steps on the balloon will have to pick up the statement and go back to the group. The group will have 20 seconds to decide if the statement is a reason of why bystanders intervene in a cyberbullying situation. A reason of why bystanders do not intervene in a cyberbullying situation. If the answer of the group is correct, they will win 1 point. The team who gets more points will be the winner. Step 5. Put the different statements in a chart and review the last result. Step 6. Ask the following reflection questions. Why bystanders play a crucial role in cyberbullying incidents. If you were a bystander, what would you do? What role would you play? What can happen if you decide to be outsider? Defender? Reinforcer? Assistant? This activity is important for youngsters to learn that being a defender bystander can help the person who is suffering cyberbullying. Being an outsider, reinforcer or assistant is basically stepping on the victim. However, youngsters can decide to stand for the victim and avoid the escalation dangers that these incidents can cause.